Thank you. Sherry,
Welcome, everybody. Normally I'd love to hog the microphone and say lots of cool stuff, but I'm going to just get rolling right away. We have a lot of readers here tonight. I am so pleased to have so many poets here tonight. Thank you so much for being here, all of the poets that are joining us tonight. I'd like to first thank Freeport Community Services for partnering with us and letting us use this wonderful space. I'd like to thank Balsam Realty for partnering with us and helping provide some needed funds to make this happen. And I'd like to thank all of you for coming, and obviously our poets. Thank you again for being here. And our Portland poet laureate, Maya Williams, will share her work with us later tonight. Thank you so much for being here, Maya. Really appreciate it. My name is Jonas Werner, and I live here in this town with John Egan. He and I have been... We don't live together. Not yet. He and I are both lovers of poetry, and it's really the main reason we created these events. This is really our first one as Freeport Folio, an organization we started to kind of be the umbrella to keep us safe. The other reason we started is because we both recognize the transformative power of poetry and know that creativity can create connections for an individual, can create connections with other people, and help transform not just people, but communities. Quite simply, it's a way for John and I to bring people together in our community. Our poets today will share their art, and we recognize that this can at times be messy, but this can also create opportunities for deeper understanding. You may hear some things today which you appreciate, which you grok, which you love, or maybe even abhor. You may hear some things you detest or which make you feel sick to your stomach. If you need some space, feel free to leave, come back when you're ready. Try to be considerate of the poets. If you hear something funny, feel free to laugh. Open mic poets first, and then Maya will read for us. Hopefully, if you're here to read, you've signed up. There is a cup here that does not have boiled peanut. This has the names of the readers in it, and we will choose them one by one. When your name is called, please come to the podium. You'll have 8 minutes from the time you get up here. Long welcome. Nice to see you. Long bio will also equal poetry time. And please keep your eye on the timekeeper, which will be me. I'll be seated over there. It's kind of hard to see me, but you'll hear me if you start going over time. So without further ado, let's just get right into it and get our first poet up here. Hi, welcome. Come on in, grab a seat. We were waiting for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, our first poet is Jay LeBeau.
I had a feeling that was going to happen. Hi, everybody. This is my first time here, so very nice to meet you all. There's some adult themes in here, not too bad, but just content warning. Is that okay? Excuse me. This is called 20 East to Quebec. At 8 o'clock in the evening on 20 East to Quebec, I'm tired, you're tired, we're wired, we're at our best. Now, my Honda has absconded us, and our love all lost in its wanderlust, and my car seats are cloth, carpet plush. And we're riding in a tedious torture and driving on a road that doesn't seem to end. And so here's where we begin. You see, I know we're on the mend, all raw and ripped open and choking as only friends. We're as lonely ends, and we're hoping for that only cleanse, but it's hard for a memory to die, and here's why. At 8 o'clock in the evening on 20 East to Quebec, I drove, you played DJ, doing what we do best. Now, at the time, we were listening to 1989, and we were driving on black asphalt with white hash mark lines with the heat on. We had a January suite on St. Jean View. Well, merci beaucoup, or so I tried. I mean, I don't speak the language no good, but if I could, well then I would write you the most beautiful singing sonnet. I would walk to all the ends of the earth just to make sure that you were on it. I would sleep 100,000 sleeps or seek all there ever was to seek. I'd leap into the ocean just to be the only name you speak. But at 8 o'clock in the evening on 20 East to Quebec, I was so worried because we hadn't had sex in a while, and that's my fault for being a default version of myself. I learned but never held. I yearned to be the person who's earned your full immersion. I only took a chance, but you accepted the inversion of love life lost and found. In other words, you went all in, but I skipped town. Now, I don't deserve the best merchant of a never-ending earnest. I still love your laugh at the movies. You're messy and crass, and that suits me. I lost you twice now, so now fool me and say hello to the man who sold the world. And I know you love Nirvana, even though that's Bowie. And your work, I never asked you to show me. I'm ever only preoccupied with a clean inside and all the things I want to do that I'll never try. So at 8 o'clock in the evening on 20 East to Quebec, something about the smell of you still sits beneath my chest. I guess it still resonates, I mean. It still generates a scene of an ordinary memory, an average evergreen. And I know that we've had better ones. Nothing's ever said and done. These kind of things are never set in stone. But alone in my car, I'm driving 91 north and I'm trying, how much further will I roam? I wonder if I cross this border, luggage my passport in order, tell the guard I'm driving northward, and if I hurry, I can be there by 8 o'clock in the evening on 20 East to Quebec. I look over in the seat in which you once slept, but that memory has left, a thinly threaded theft. I start to mourn the loss of us, but then I see your text, and so at 8 o'clock in the evening on 20 West to Montreal, I'm finally coming home to you. Finally, after all. Thank you.
Next up, Steve Westra.
Yeah. I'm not getting nearly as animated, but that was impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So, just a couple quick poems. The first in honor of a brother. So, this brother Phil was a great humanitarian and avid sailor. One of his last acts was to help build about 3,000 homes in Haiti for earthquake victims. So, it reads like this. Free the lines from their cleats, brother. Bow pointed to the wind, with sails slightly set. Hold briefly the stern to the dock as the wind catches and sets you on your way. Stow the lines, you will be bound by shore no more. Choose your course through the harbor, brother, the boats with bare masts and solemn salute pointing to the open sea. Breathe deep the salt air on the offshore breeze, awaiting the salt spray in your precious face. Leave no store on shore, brother. You need return no more. Ride the tide and current from the harbor. Green to your starboard, there will be no more red right returning. Your loved ones on shore will return to their homes in peace, for you have loved us well. Feel the water on the hull with your passion for the sea. Your rail will soon be wet. Set your tiller, brother, and off to the horizon. No more hard to lee, steady as she goes, brother, steady as she goes.
Got a little emotional there.
We also do free hugs.
It's gonna need it. It's been a while. My brother landed here. It's here as well. So, And this is motivated by a visit I had to a detention center, ICE detention center yesterday, of a friend who I was teaching English to from the Congo, and reads like so. You stole, excuse me, your country 'tis of thee, you who stole my liberty, of thee I cry. Land where my hopes and dreams died, land where its leaders lied. From every detention center, immigrants suffer without being tried. Not my native country thee, but where I had to flee. The name I trusted, I love thy people still, many who cared and nurtured well. My heart and soul dare to hope in the face of ignorance and cruelty. Let music swell the breeze and freedom ring from every cell. Sweet freedom's ring. Let moral tongues awake. Let all that breathe partake. Let all their silence break. The sound of righteousness and justice prevail.
I'll be quick. Get in as many poets as we can.
Diesel. Oh, Kathleen Sullivan. She didn't want to read, did she? She's still here? Come on, Kathleen. Kathleen Sullivan.
I was sure I wasn't gonna get called. Thank you all for, thank you, Jonas, for organizing this, and all of you for coming. It's just great to have this happening here in Freeport. So this is an acrostic poem. I don't know if any of you know what it was. I didn't know what an acrostic poem was until I took a writing seminar with the Maine Writers and Publishers Association, great organization. So each stanza begins with another letter of the alphabet starting with A. So this is called, oh, and I will also want to warn you, I've been having to write sort of fierce poems about my anger and about what's happening. So this was written at the end of January of this year. And it got published in this book, a whole book of poems on Maine poets protest the attack on democracy. So, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, America, going nuts, cracked, broken. Apple, Malam, Malam, Eve bit the red fruit fallen from the tree of knowledge. Malam, Malam. Now white man, Christian man, will have revenge, confiscate the wombs of women, bewitch their minds, cast them out of the garden into the wilderness. Malam, Malam. Butternut squash soup, yellow, orange like the dawn sky over the ocean, half a mile from this place I call home. My last meal before the vote is tallied, and I wake to the great shattering. Outside the big windows, the quiet forest, blanket in darkness, breathes slowly. The moon, the only light visible in this haven at the end of a long dirt road, is just rising. Cake, pat a cake, baker's man, bake me a cake as fast as you can. Roll it, slice it, and mark it with a B, and put it in the oven for baby and me. Oh, the bright clapping children. Drill, baby, drill. Pump it out of the ground as fast as you can. The window for a livable planet will close. The floods will come. The forest will burn. The birds will die. I cry for the children. Duck, duck, duck. The ocean is warming. The Arctic is melting. The butterflies are dying. AI is coming for your job. Cryptocurrency is coming for your money. They then live next door. Your son wants to be called your daughter. The Indians aren't all dead. Another pandemic lurks in the market. A black woman running for president of the USA. Duck and cover, duck and cover. The world is all fucked up. Elderberry. Elderberry. Revered in some cultures, unknown in others. dangerous when taken raw, but when properly prepared, offers rich nutrients good for the spirit. I am an elder. I am ripened. When properly prepared, I can be good for the spirit. Beware, I can be dangerous. You all knew that was coming. Frank's, yellow mustard, soft rolls, the boardwalk, the sea, and me with my first job at the concession, sitting on the high stool before the cash register, making change, listening to the sea roll, the children shriek, the coins clink, the gulls call. Jones Beach, 1960, before the JFK assassination, before the Vietnam War, before Watergate, before the planet warmed, 1960. The world waved its open arms at me, and I threw myself into her embrace. Groundfish, too, me and Papa fishing for flounder in the Great South Bay, the brown swamp swallows perched on the tips of seagrasses, the kelp swaying under the little wooden boat with its tiny motor, the marshes still healthy, not yet dredged, submerged, wrapped with plastics. The chorus of marsh birds loud in our ears. A dead flounder reeled in with glee, glistening like glass on the gray floorboards. Hamburgers, bloody, salted, shredded red meat, bounded into patties, the food of the victors. My father, the war hero in the backyard, a grill, glowing coals, a metal tool in his hand, flipping burgers. World War II, just a shadow now. The pictures he took stamped classified Nagasaki, hidden behind the boiler of the basement. Cows in the field, sweet, innocent mewing. The word slaughter, forbidden. Indian pudding, cornmeal, sweet molasses. The native people grew corn here, but we had to wait for our New England-made ships to sail to Africa, capture black men, women, and children, enslave them on islands in the Caribbean, force them to grow sugar, till we finally fulfilled our sweet tooth's desire. Molasses, molasses, we all fall down. How long before this history is banned? Jello, the election results come in, and as I watch the map turn red, blood red, my knees turn to jello, pink jello, slippery, cold, sweet, surrender. Kale, once scorned in green salads, recently discovered by the culinary elite, is a trick to upscale kale. It needs to soften, to relax its tense demeanor. Soften, soften. Do we dare? Do I? Lettuce, lima beans, lentils, lamb. Some people can't afford to buy food for their children. Some can't afford a gallon of gas. The jobs in the oil fields and coal mines are gone. AI is building cars. Healthcare is hard to find. The rich are getting richer. Lettuce, lima beans, lentils, lamb. Who will feed the poor? Mussels, purple crustaceans clinging to rocks. At low tide, my 7-year-old grandson and I harvest a pail full of wacom, sliced onions, chopped tomatoes, saute the mussels. Giggling, we devour the soft-bellied creatures. Since then, invasive green crabs decimated the mussels. The lobsters migrated north. 90% of eelgrass is lost. Our grandson is taller than me. Almost finished. Nuts, nutty, nut cake, going nuts, gone nuts, cracked open, broken, scattered. America, me. OPQRSTUVWXYZ. I don't know what comes next. It's not yet written. I read somewhere that in the battle between totalitarianism and freedom, the most dangerous acts of resistance are acts of spontaneous, radical kindness and compassion.
Thank you very, very much. If you need to, please adjust the microphone. I think I was told that it goes up and down, which it no longer does. use two hands at once. Thank you. Yeah, but the next person's not that tall. Next poet is Veda Lerner. Welcome back, Veda. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, I guess I'll waste no time on introductions, time's sake. Yeah. Okay, so the first one is called 120 BPM. It's also my current heart rate. 120 beats per minute, staring in the mirror. I know I told the truth, but this reflection isn't clearer, and my lies rise to octaves no one can ever hear when I'm 120 beats per minute, staring in the mirror. 120 beats per minute, sneaking down the hall, with the shadow of an elephant scrawled across the wall. Your stride stands out with a classic saxophonist's call when I'm 120 beats per minute, sneaking down the hall. 120 beats per minute with a slide trombone. The eggshells aren't picked up, they just make up the home. 'Cause 7th is rock bottom, and I'm not built to go that low, but I'm 120 beats per minute with a slide trombone. 120 beats per minute, getting some fresh air, and you speak too much of love to let the wind control your hair. But the rain and drum beat, I'll give an empty stare when we're 120 beats per minute, getting some fresh air. 120 beats per minute, riding in my car, while these 20s tunes tempt me to tell the truth from afar. But I'll keep you out of reach, whether you're in my arms or I'm 120 beats per minute, riding in my car. 120 beats per minute, waking up at night, 'cause I panic when I picture my reflection in your eyes. And a diminished chord string quartet echoes all my lies when I'm 120 beats per minute, waking up at night. 120 beats per minute, staring in the mirror. I know the consequence, but this reflection isn't clearer. With semitones, slide trombones, and an unspoken goodbye, I'm 120 beats per minute, staring down my life. Thank you. Okay. This next one, I got like two more. This next one is called, I don't think that was the right thing to do. Hey, are you okay? You've been out here for hours digging your own grave. I know you promised to call her by the edge of the lake. Did you change directions just to escape? Oh, she knows about this too. Well, of course you'd tell her. She's your nearest and dearest and sweetest Estella. You say that name is blasphemy, but you can't blame me. They're exactly the same. Beautiful and forever out of reach. So, what do you have this time? Further up the trail, you found a pocket knife beside her filthy high tops. What were you planning to do with that? Blood is always a good metaphor, but I have a feeling that's not what you're looking for, because you lied to her last night as you bled on the bathroom floor. Imagine if she knew what her gift were really for. And everyone else, they don't mean a thing just because they're not there to see the pendulum swing. You know they care, that's not what I'm saying. I just want you to think of who you're betraying. Even the winks you toss across the hall, they'd be standing on the sidewalk as you're hit by a car and to live with the memory after it all. You know you're still the coward even if you're scared to fall, but it seems your hole is getting close to 6 feet, not that you needed it that deep. So I guess I'll leave you be. Try not to die too lame a death. The only thing I ever wanted was to be seen. This last one's my favorite one. It is called Crying Every Day Until My Windows Get Replaced, day 1144. Some people wait for their other half. I wait for my hole, watching its ghost write in prose right outside the fogged up windows to this good-for-nothing soul. I needed these panes replaced years ago. I'd called them on the phone, said these cracks are letting in the cold. I wanted to scream about how when this house was sold to me, I was told it was built to meet all of my needs. But here I am, groveling on my knees, just for them to send a plumber to me, to refurbish my faulty faucets, reportedly causing all the fog, just to flood the first floor after they failed to fix a fabricated problem they swore to me was there. I don't trust authority anymore. They say that customers haven't had issues with their glass in the past, but if that's the case, what in the world is letting in this draft? Why is my furniture all damp? This spider is living in my lamps. No, I don't need pest control. I need a new window. I already have rat traps lined up and down the backyard for the infestation that's somehow causing the paint to chip off my walls. You know, the window company called. They said they'd put me on a list to see if my problem still persists after 6 years or so of waiting. Honestly, I've been debating taking this job into my own hands. I'm not a professional, but at least I've got a plan because some people wait for their other half. I wait for my whole. To watch him dance just out back to some stupid song he wrote. And I'll bring out a platter of our favorite cold entrees, hors d'oeuvres and chocolate cake, where the ants that get inside are just sufferings of fate. When I'm looking to my window on that winter's summer day and wonder to myself why this ever had to wait.
Thank you, Maiden. It's kids like that that make me think I need to stop writing. All right, next up. Jenny Dowdy, the president of Maine Poet Society.
If that might actually be in the right way. I've just got three gifts, please. This one, first one, was a prompt I was given where we were asked to write about something that we really like. And I really like fish. To eat as well, but just there's something about fish that gets on me, and this is like my fish poem, which is going to be in Holland Head Review next one that comes out in September. Fish. I love their luscious liquidity, their dappled metallic flamboyance, sleek silver surface spinning sardine schools, trout hiding rainbows under riverbanks, abyssal fish with gargantuan eyes and primeval phosphorescent strangeness. They are aliens among us. We're doomed to know each other only through glass. They're powerless in our world. As a child, I rowed in a glass-bottomed boat over the Red Sea's coral reefs and saw swimming among orange coral branches, bright clownfish, groupers, parrotfish and damsels, and later dreamed that I dived in with them, miraculously had no need to breathe, but moved in all dimensions as if I were a fishy form and mind myself, became part of that oceanic vastness. Feeling their freedom and flexibility, capacity to see things from all sides, imagined a heaven without limits, no land. Well, this was one of my April Poem a Day poems, and it was a form that I hadn't come across before. I'll kind of hold it up briefly. You can see it kind of goes in and out like that, and it's got a weird name, something magnolia, something, I don't know, I can't remember, but it's a form anyway. But it just means it gets thin and then it gets out again. So this is called To the Deer That Ran in Front of My Car. I saw you, as if out of a vision painted on a cave wall, a white-tailed deer leaping from the snowy field, powering in perfect arcs across the road, white scut flying its flag, buckskin mewing, still unafraid of day. I slammed my brakes, jolted to a halt, heart drumming. Fear of death, mine or yours, or loss of self? I watched in awe at your mathematical precision, the fluid line of your leap, your haunches bunched, bulged as if smeared by ochre-wet hands on a smooth rock curve lit by stone lamps, burning twists of moss in a pool of deer tallow. Wow. I have one more. This is actually a golden shovel, which for people who aren't acquainted with golden shovels is where you take somebody else's poem and you make each word of their poem either the beginning or the end of the line of yours. This one is all the end. So the originating poem is by Rabindranath Tagore called On Time. And when I started writing it, it turned out to be about tango. So it's called Tango. It's September. My garden fades, but the buddleia still blooms and a white butterfly shrinks time between purple blossoms. It counts as summer still, if what you want is not a season named only by its months and the equinoctial command, but by what we see, what we feel inside, moments when the heart resists the movement to fall and maintains its warm rhythm, the tango that has us moving our bodies to its beat, in time syncopated like butterflies until enough. Open step, forward cross, back cross. Time counting steps to that double beat is one way growing older gives us a rhythm to our days. Time is where our wealth is. We shed the responsibilities of a youth not misspent enough. Our bodies change, stiffen and ache. Hearing diminishes, but tango is a feeling that is danced, in the words of Jorge Luis Borges. The clock is ticking on our lives, but here, in the dance of 4 legs and 1 heart, it's still summer. To youth, we seem a parody of romance, as if dark hair, smooth skin makes the image of love. But like the butterfly, it flutters the heart at an embrace, at a mere kiss. Loves change and die, lives change, steps change as seasons change, as flowers die, and we take those open steps, that forward cross, no time to waste because our time is our wealth. When minds open to tango's darkness, heart lets us sink back to the passions where it began. Your mind, if you are young, may see the light of the old as one to be taken lightly. But here, in the sexy power of a dance, a tango dancer takes on romance, takes on presence, connects movement, music, the rise and fall of melody, as she edges forward towards some beats, hesitates on others, finds ways of turning, rocking, rising and sinking. Time shrinks, like a syncopated beat, or like the end of summer, when morning dew puddles heavy where butterflies can drink, on the narrow serrated buddleia leaves, on the bush in my yard, where a butterfly on the tip of a purple blossom sips the last of its nectar and soaks up sun before taking a light and fluttering flight to a new leaf. Thank you.
Anyone have the preference to hold the microphone instead of stand behind the podium? We have the podium. We have a second microphone here, obviously. So this one comes out and you can walk around if you need to be more animated while you're reading.
Extra points if you do it and dance like Mick Jagger. Next up, Brian Franco.
Okay, reading from my phone here. Bear with me. The Shard Truth. A diamond's value is judged on brilliance and clarity. Brilliance, which creates sparkle, is how white light refracts the diamond. Clarity is how a diamond's surface allows for greater brilliance. There must be a point, though, when brilliance impedes clarity. Every day I wake, I step barefooted onto carpeted floor, yet find myself walking on broken glass sharp enough to pierce the soles of my feet. I step into the shower, and instead of smooth tile, there is broken glass. I slip into thick, soft winter socks and comfortable boots, and every step I take is on broken glass. This glass is not composed of silica, sodium, calcium, and carbon. It is a mishmash of stress, depression, anxiety, trauma, and turmoil. Every so often, I meet another broken glass person. I know they are a broken glass person because all broken glass people have broken glass person radar. Likewise, the other broken glass person will realize I'm a broken glass person. While we try to hide being broken glass people from non-broken glass people, we can discuss our broken glass with other broken glass people without judgment, creating makeshift, chosen family communities of broken glass people. Every piece of broken glass has a shelf life. like sea glass that gets tumbled smooth by ocean sand with ocean current. Each shard of a broken glass person's broken glass gets tumbled by being stepped on daily, pushed into sand by decisions made only to resurface repeatedly till it has been worn smooth as sea glass. When that happens, the broken glass person retrieves it and transforms it into a smile, or a poem, or painting, or frittata, or sweet potato pistachio pina colada. The non-broken glass people who bear witness to this formerly soul-piercing piece of broken glass will marvel at its brilliance. But broken glass people will know what they are experiencing is a piece of broken glass that has achieved clarity. This other piece, bear with me. Oh yes, it's right here. Okay, here we go. A brief history of human spirituality. Thousands of years ago, people were born with only one ear. The ear was created to replace a third eye. The gods or the spirits or Gaia decided humans having third eyes was a wasted privilege. There was no need for hearing when we had third eyes, but suddenly we were functionally blind and needed a new sense to keep us sensible. We heard birds that sang sweet songs, but some birds screeched like banshees. Wind, rain, and thunder became noises that forced us to stay in our caves. This new sense we possessed held anxiety, something altogether new, something that confounded minds beyond the basic purpose of brains. Taking away our third eyes created psychology. Being able to hear the world around us created chaos. So the gods or the spirit or Gaia added an extra ear to balance our behavior. Of course, noses came next, which allowed us to understand we could stink. Then we opened our mouth to express our disgust, which led to speech, which led to language, which led to opinions, which led to trying to make sense of stuff that made no sense, which became belief. Upon arbitrarily running into an ex at Trader Joe's. One day, while squeezing persimmons at Trader Joe's, I espied a former lover of whom I hadn't seen in decades, of whom had invaded my thoughts in decades, of whom had escaped my sleeping dreams over a decade ago, of whom broke my heart by surgically removing it with words that served as scalpel. This former lover walked over to me decades later and touched my shoulder lightly. This former lover looked me in the eyes and said, "Hello, long time no see." This former lover said, "Should we grab a hot cup of lobster souchong ketchup?" As if invoking my tea of choice from the past would not raise long dormant emotional keloids in my memory, I said, "Why not?" And I will do one more. Because some bridges are metaphors, we can choose where they take us before we cross them. My life then took a wrong turn on a bridge to nowhere, which was a dead-end road with no end in sight. So I decided I needed to make a U-E, then hang a Louie or Tui to do what I had to do to be able to continue on a track that did not lead back to where I had been before. Again and again, over and over and over again, despite my declaration of independence against history repeating itself and my adherence to Einstein's definition of insanity, I have found myself going nowhere fast on the same bridge to nowhere, which incidentally raises its toll by a nickel each next time I enter, and of course, it's the only cash-only toll bridge anywhere that does not accept Easy Pass. So I drop by the bank every week for a roll of nickels, which might be myself manifesting a self-fulfilling prophecy in the same vein as keeping a couple of rolls of quarters on hand in case my washer or dryer breaks down, which feels like my future is narrated by Paula Abdul and MC Scat Cat singing 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Even after having cleats surgically implanted to the soles of my feet to prevent backsliding after waking up on the wrong side of the bed, because bed manufacturers refuse to label which side of any bed is wrong or right. So how is anyone So how is anyone supposed to know which side of a button is wrong or right, which can lead to occasionally not knowing the difference between right or wrong or right or left, which can warp anyone's sense of direction, leading to wrong turns on wrong roads, because sometimes despite following directions to a T, where we end up is beyond our control, which leads me to wonder if I had a nickel for every time I woke up on the wrong side of the bed or took a wrong turn. Could I finally insert a period at the end of this sentence?
Next up, Mr. Joseph Coleman. Joe, I don't know if your poetry class this summer is full yet, but if it isn't, would you tell us what it is? Please.
Oh, it's come and gone, actually. I taught a poetry workshop at the Wolf's Neck Center this year.
We missed it.
Yeah. But thanks for asking. This first poem is a poem about my sister's boyfriend. His name, well, he went by the name Big Guy. In the days of my innocence, I'd fish off the rocks for mackerel and smoke Marlboros, stolen from the glove compartment of my sister's boyfriend's Camaro. His name was Gary, but he went by the name Big Guy, which was stamped on his license plate. He played football, wore canoe aftershave, worked at Kirsch's hot dog processing plant, even let me help butcher a deer in his parents' cellar once. My sister dumped Big Guy when he shot his dog Tika behind his barn. My last image of him was peeling out of our driveway, his hot rod spraying my face with gravel, and my sister throwing her Dr. Scholl sandals crying, "Fuck you, Big Guy!" I was gutted. I spent whole days jigging for mackerel. When it got too hot, I'd take off my clothes and jump in the sea. The surge from the waves against the rocks pulled me in and out, bobbing with eiders and hooded mergansers. Rattling cold, I lie on the rocks and hear the diesel engines from the lobster boats chug from pot to pot in the bay, and smell the junipers and make lists in my head of all the seabirds that flew over me, terns, cormorants, buffleheads, and ospreys, and watched gulls drop clams on the rocks. I wore a silver chain bracelet in those days, bought it with the money I won on the ponies at the Windsor Fair. It was my first flashy thing. I checked myself out in the tidal pools, admired the cool silver against my brown skin till the sun sank behind the hills. Then I'd pick up my bucket of herring and walk home, never looking back at the darkening sea, praying Big Guy's hot rod would be parked in the front yard. But Big Guy was gone, and he never came back. So I grew up in Augusta, and in the fall, when I went to St. Mary's, and a lot of the kids weren't in school, and they were out deer hunting. And there was this one particular family named the Dumases, and this poem's called John Dumas. John Dumas is not in school. It's autumn, and he and his brothers are out in the woods. They'll tag 6 deer, including one for the cripple who lives upstairs. If you're breathing in a Dumas, you get a tag. Deer hang on their front porch. They appear like magic in the night, tongues stretched out, black slits under their bellies. On Monday, a doe and a spikehorn hung. This morning, a swamp buck swayed as headlights crossed the yard while turning onto Lambert Road. In the yard at St. Mark's, the air is crisp. There's snot around John's nose, and steam rises from his wet blue cords. I shot a doe, he said in round sounds, like doe. She was a big doe. I got her in the pines in the snow. She was filled with milk. The meat will be tender, not tough like the swamp buck Dennis brags about over there on the upper playground. My doe's better eating, more tender. She was a big doe. Swamp bucks go in the crock pot with potatoes. Swamp buck's meat is blue.
In the spring, the Dumases plow then hay. They fight in the back orchard, tie tails of turtles to electric fences. That's what these farm boys do. They don't swing from birches. They shoot squirrels, fool rams into head-butting tin buckets draped in red tablecloths, ride dirt bikes in sand pits, hit each other with 2x4s just for fun, rough stuff. They go to school and church for a bit, eat white-hearted donuts, Doritos, drinks orange soda, bringing weird things from ponds in a mason jar to school. Brings in a cow's brain, a kidney stone, and grouse tails. They fight just as they warm to be heard over the dull din in the yard. They do their chores and they take the belt with grace. At the fair grounds, they walk tall, tattooed, rolled up sleeves, bandanas tight to thighs. And slowly over the years, the nails stepped on, the bones broken, teeth rotted, whiskey, cigarettes, dog bites, coon bites, porcupine quills. Their piss turns sour and livers sputter and they slow. Shiny trucks dent and dull, and across the yard they shuffle with enough worn flesh to lash a fresh crop of boys. Boys to fill their space, initials notched on the boards. In the empty horse stalls at the fairgrounds, where spruce pitched hands once held soft girls in the dry hay. One boy may slip away to college and change it for them all.
Glad you're here. I am. Somebody else is. All right, well, that was really awesome. Thank you. Are you going to teach another class next year? All right, good. Watch out for it, Wilson. Next up, Isis Phoenix.
It's not going to be mixed Jagger,
All right.
but I will dance like poetry. This piece is called Ecstatic Burdens. It was recently published in my RE literature. Thank you. It's out of my teacher, Maya Williams. And it is about a Kundalini awakening in perimenopause. She warmed herself in the inner sadhana of shining, unfurling her thick, coiled body, fire serpents of pure potential, one cream and gold, the other black with crimson diamonds, massive, anaconda-sized. They writhe within me, churning chakras, sparking wheels of light, an endless spinning sky inside, slapping awake the primal pulse of creation, twining their triple coil ties up the ladder of my light body. I'm told this energy is grace, but right now I was hoping for sleep. 2 a.m., a body too electrified for dreams. This unexpected spiritual ecstasy has no concern for schedules, for hunger, for the fragility of human nerves. The goddess throws a dance party in my womb on my commute down I-295. She sends me into Kriyas thrifting at the Goodwill. She conducts an orchestra of light body orgasms in the soup aisle at Hannaford's. She doesn't ask if I'm ready, doesn't care if I've eaten. This isn't her first visit, but it's been more than a minute since college, that lovemaking, when my hands exploded and light shot through every cell, igniting me like the Griswold's Christmas vacation house. Now, these energy eruptions stretch my skin to balloon thinness. Can I even eat when my gut is an altar to her shimmering feast. She grinds down the marrow of who I thought I was, fill the bones with gold, and dares me to stagger under the weight of it. She drags my soul laughing through every locked door.
Thank you very much.
Careful, Jonas.
I'm very careful. All right. Next up, Mayor Nonan. Did I do that right? Mayor? Stop talking. Nice to see you, Mayor.
I know a tidge of what you're talking about. This is a short one. It's untitled. Years ago, I worked on a locked ward. As if anyone could contain the suffering with a lock. One afternoon, returning from lunch, not recognizing him, I waved good day to a passing escapee, unconsciously setting us both free. This is if only. This morning early, I pulled 30 plastic bags from the throats of sea turtles. Then I held back a phosphate spill from invading a Florida river. I'm now circling poachers who are ready to claim a large bull elephant's life. By lunch, I will have replanted the milkweed that was plowed under for a New Jersey parking lot. The monarchs will be overjoyed. I'll rest in the afternoon sun, feeling the earth breathe. By dinner, I will have collected all steel-jawed traps, while Red Fox watch from the bushes. Then closing my eyes in the moonlight, I will know that all two-leggeds have awakened to the preciousness they are destroying. This is my grandfather, who I never got a chance to know. A miner. Breathing dust in the darkness, my grandfather, straining muscles till the cave in. What happened next, no one knows, except his spirit moved on. Sometimes I imagine him, a man who took his ill friend's shift, a man who never came home. What do I carry of him? Would I take my brother, sister's shift? Would I walk into the darkness? Would I breathe in the dust of earth? Yes, dear grandfather, I will take my brother, sister's shift. I will walk into the darkness. I will breathe in the dust of earth. It's called Enough. Sometimes one gull flying slowly low overhead is enough. Enough reason to love this mystery. Sometimes the long shadows growing across the late afternoon grass is enough. Enough reason to stop worrying. Certainly, in the deep dark, the real night sky, alive with energy beyond count, is far enough reason to kneel. This is the last one, I think. Yeah. Today. Is this child my child? Placing a palm on the hot stove, I ask, is this child my child? Staring into its tiny, starving face, I ask, is this child my child? Then I go blind. Hands covering my ears, the exhausted cries seem muffled. But still I ask, is this child my child?
Thank you very much. So we have just like, I would love to do one more poet, but you'll have a short set, if that's okay. So if I call your name and you can do a short set, fabulous. If you can't, don't come out. I have a very big hook. I'll yank you. Let's see, Nora. Imperigal?
Hair.
Erica.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, now I don't know which one to read. Okay, I was originally going to do 2 short ones, 1 long one, but instead I think I'll do just the 2 short ones instead. Right, so I'll do my first one. I'm very nervous. I don't read very well on the microphone, so here's my best. And the first one is still in progress. God is testing me. I like to spend my time kicking and crying and squirming and screaming about how God is testing me, but God is testing me. And I'm searching for people who plead in blue, or God is watching me. That's sick, man. No, I mean, that's really sick, man. Is this what that is supposed to look like? Is that what this is supposed to feel like? Because I'm still searching for people who bleed in blue, and God is still testing me. And I'm realizing that you can see when people really see you. So I need you to close your eyes because I think it'd be easier. I need you to close your mind because I think it'd be more true to you, and you don't ever want to be fake, right? So close your mind. I think it'd be more true to you, and you don't ever want to be fake. I want to get out. I need to get out. I can't do the blank stares under a blue sky here anymore. I can't do the acknowledgement and acceptance of overcasting clouds and sadness. I can't do Maine. I met a boy who pressed his left leg against walls. Welcome to Portland. And he was pleading in blue. He speaks with a drawl. The soles of his shoes are heavy, and he's dragging himself around. He needs to speed it up. Here we go. He turns to the usage of regret, of resentment, of white powder, of money, of the wrong type of people, of being the wrong type of person, but he can get out. But this place, it likes to eat people alive. And it's hard to be stronger than an overcast sky. It's hard to fight off the sadness of Maine's summer, Maine's own shade of blue. And God, it's all so saddening and sick, and God is also testing you. So, there's that one. I have one that's like about that length. Is that enough too? Okay. Good. All right. Okay. So the name of this one, let me pull it up. The name of this one is There's Men Like Blaze Foley Out There, but they're all dead or dying. So if you know who Blaze Foley is, that's my king. These are the characters in my mind. A man with 3 teeth, rough skin, crow's nest eyes. His gums are rotting, gray and black, green and seeping. He doesn't look at you. His eyes meet yours, but he doesn't ever see you. His hair's falling out. That's been a fact for the past 30 years. He has a cigarette-stained beard and slicked back strays on the top of his head. He broke 2 ribs when he was 12 years old, and sometimes when he breathes wrong, it feels as if someone's jamming a railroad tie into his side. There's a time in which he allowed someone to reach their hands around his sternum, say I love you, call him baby, but as their grip loosened, he watched them walk away with blood-soaked palms. That's when he stopped seeing and just began feeling. That's when God began digging, pressing around his eyes as if he were made of clay. That's when God began tearing. Ripping strands of hair from the top of his head, he began knitting them to the bottom of his chin. When the railroad tie was jammed far too deep into his side that he just began heaving. A part of him lost, he accepted his fate, and he stopped breathing. Tears forming in the yellows of his eyes, God reached down to him, pulled on his jaw, spit tar in his mouth, and the man, choking, quickly began coughing. Then he continued walking, past me, down the street, looking, but not ever seeing.
Thank you so much to all the poets that read today. I'm very sorry for those of you who prepared and were hoping to read, but I hope you will come back 3 months from now. We're going to do this again. We're going to do it every quarter. Yes, sir. And our featured reader in October will be Gary Lawless, the owner of Gary, the owner of Culver Name Books in Brunswick. If you want to keep up with what we're doing and upcoming poetry events, please share your email address with us. There's a sign up back there. Also, there's a QR code if you just want to do it digitally. So there's also some snacks back there if you need the restroom and you haven't been here before, out the door to the left, on the left. I should have told you that in the beginning. You're probably in pain right now. So we get to the part of the night where we get to hear from our featured reader, Maya Williams. She is Portland's 7th Poet Laureate and was the Poet Laureate there from 2021-2024. She has a master's in social work, a master's in fine arts. Their debut full-length poetry collection, Judas and Suicide, was a finalist for the New England Book Award. Their next book of poetry was a finalist for the Maine Literary Award. They've won 2 chapbook prizes, been published in journals like The Daily Beast and Black Girl Nerds, and they appear regularly around Maine to help others heal. And until last October, I understand they did have a day job. Apparently the government downsized them. But now they are a full-time writer, poet, and helper of people. If you want to try to keep up with Maya, please look her up at mayawilliamspoet.com, and you can also find links to get some of her work through there as well. Without further ado, please welcome Portland's Poet Laureate and our guest, Maya Williams.
Give it up for your lovely hosts and tech support one more time. Thank you so much. Hi friends, it's so nice to hear such beautiful poetry from you and really nice to be in this space of great energy where everyone's so attentive and really great listeners. I'm going to be reading some poems. They do include content about grief and suicide, so please take care of yourselves as needed. I understand that not everyone's a fan of content warnings. I'm a fan of content warnings when it comes to what folks need when it's connected to their lived experience. If it's not connected to your lived experience, I would like for you to consider leaning in and staying seated and actually sitting with the hard stuff if it's not your lived experience. But in the meantime, this opening poem is called On Building a Shrine, and it's inspired by the poets Sun Young Chin, Kristen Pravelet, and my pressmate Adrienne Navi, who's coming out with a book through Button Poetry. Granny's Obituary. Recipe for blackberry pie that should never be used. Portland Ovation's program of The Last Girl. Prop cigar from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Broken call button device from Long Creek Youth Development Center. 3 silver Southern Cross necklaces. Father-in-law's blue kerchief. Laptop playing Michael singing from YouTube on an endless loop. Band-Aids. Scarborough High School's chapbook anthology. DVD of the 2005 film adaptation of Rent. John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. Watercolor paintings of the transgender flag. Nicole's best poem. Expired bottle of Lexapro. Stuffed panda bear, preferably from Dollar General, but any low-cost stuffed panda will do. I wrote this next poem in January, and it's called A Conversation with Grief. Hello again, love. I'm trying to love and appreciate you better. How hard it is to love you when you remind me of the ways the living and the dead won't come back to me. These days, it's been harder for my nervous system remembering the living more than the dead. I have come to accept the recent dead unable to return. I'm trying to hold on to one more grandmother while she's here, and I don't know if I'm doing a great job. I'm trying to ask loved ones for what I need because I can't rely on that one person anymore. My fingernails press into my palms to keep me present. My palms have multiple grins at my ineffectiveness. Telling people you made me a better writer helps me believe my trauma is not the teaching artist I need. I don't enjoy conversing with you all the time, but moments like these help me be more receptive when it happens again and again. I apologize for the time spiritual bypassing made me ignore you. I apologize for the biblical David moments, me screaming into voids unwilling to shout back. I'm always trying to love you better. It's hard not to blame you when illness, systems, substances, suicide, circumstance take my loved ones away. My best friend once compared a colonized heaven to a shitty retirement home. How long has heaven been weaponized by people weaponizing you? I wish you could control that narrative, but I know you can't. Life has been compared to plays and extensive TV series. You're often a bystander in the writing process. I don't mean that as an insult, surprisingly. We have to be the ones to let you intervene. I know. I have to be the one to let you intervene. I know. The landing of anticipating you never lands well, but there is a landing spot for you in my chest every time. Death doesn't discriminate, but the living who force it upon marginalized people do. The living who force it upon my people do. What is a pilgrimage but for those who seek safe haven with their dead? Thank you. This next poem is from my chapbook, What's So Wrong with a Pity Party Anyway, and it's the opening poem of the collection called Delivery Has Failed to Send. What a scam being alive is after losing so many people I thought I could hold on to. I haven't cried for Michael since 2018 after losing him in 2014. If I stopped crying for 6 out of the 10 years he's been gone, what does that say about my monstrous memory? 11 years coming up. What does that say for how long my brain can retain him before he slips away? I have this bad habit of messaging him after he was gone. I wanted him so badly to respond. It was the first time I ever experienced the denial part of grief for someone who died. The first time facts weren't enough proof for me. Are these lack of tears a new denial my body has formulated? Is my body marking all of missing him as spam? How much searching do I have to do to regulate the tears into my inbox again? Or do I have to search at all? God, I wish I had better metaphors. Who can speak in metaphors when my first kiss, my first fellow queer friend, my first fellow mentally ill friend is dead still? At least the tears were proof he was here. It still makes me upset I couldn't attend his funeral. I don't always say my dad tried his best, but that day he did. Travels couldn't work out, no gravesite visit yet. I have been revising the same poem about Michael since 2014. Doesn't that show he's still in every poem of mine, whether I like it or not? The next poem is called My Mind and Body Alone Together in Mid-May. My mind calls my body a hater. My body says anaphylactic shock is a let's try something different instead of a fuck you to my mind. My mind is early to bring the Wraith assumption that Lexapro became allergy-ridden tar on purpose. My body lets every medical practitioner know from 11:15 a.m. to 9 p.m. that while my throat and lungs are fine, my heart is in the most turmoil. beats the chest into a new era of survival. My mind wonders, how much is the beating due to the epinephrine coursing through my veins versus the obsessive anxiety's impetus to rat all over my innards? My body reminds, sleep, eat. Feel the white sheets on the hospital bed. Is this what the inside of a casket feels like? My mind begs for tea, art, and walks across Chicago's earth to unwind until my body gets trapped in an elevator for an hour. I am Schrodinger's cat's incarnate. The hotel staff won't know how I am until the conveyor box is open. I am simultaneously okay and not okay in their minds while my mind screams, I'm definitely not okay! My body feels the heat amidst the reality of this animated trap. I text Quinn about the past couple of days. Quinn, what god did you piss off? Me. Apparently one that wants my heart to just stop in its tracks. I added this poem to the set list. This is from my first collection, Judas and Suicide. And Jonas said very kind things about it because he watched a TEDx talk of me that was recorded at Cape Elizabeth High School years ago. So I'm going to read it. It's called Convince Us to Stay. What people don't understand about suicidal ideation is how hella convinced we have to be to stay on this earth. Some days even want to stay. It's not enough to tell us we'll burden someone if we leave, as often as we think we'll burden someone if we stay. Ideation is the double-edged sword we never asked for. Then again, we never asked to be alive either. Ideation is the pendulum that swings from one alternate universe of darkness to another. Convince us of an alternate universe of light that exists out there. With less cliches this time, with more cliches we can be proud of, with natural prayers, with no empty prayers at all. Convince us of a better future ahead without the pressure of having to fucking think of one. Convince us of possibilities without providing us fucking barriers in the same breath. Hear us. Commend us for our survival without us having to experience the threat of a disappearance in the first place. Need us. No, I mean really need us. Not because it'll make you feel better, because it'll make all of us feel better. No, I mean really feel better. Like freedom of life without giving compensation for saving it after failed attempts. Like summer rains being the occasional cleanse we desire with its liveliness within the gray. Like being so fucking present, being a blessed gift in of itself, only no one has to wrap or rewrap it for us. Mental illness unravels like a motherfucker. Convince us of the belief that we can rewrap it ourselves. This next poem I want to give a bit of an introduction to before I read it. This is the title poem of my upcoming chapbook coming through the Headlight Review this fall. Very excited about that, yeah. And it's called Feminine Morbidity. It's inspired by Ian Cara Elisante, who's an incredible Black non-binary professor at Bates College, as well as Ariel Marie, who is an incredible Black woman who wrote the poetry collection Gumbo Yaya. And you'll hear me say the term cis a lot. That's a short form word for cisgender. No, that does not make you an alien. No, it's not a bad word. It's just simply to not say, oh, you have trans people and normal people. No, you have trans people and you have cis people, or transgender people and cisgender people. When I use the acronym TERF as an acronym for trans exclusionary radical feminist, aka not a real feminist, especially if you're going to exclude trans women, trans people, Black women, because most of these TERFs are white. All that shenanigans. And there's a difference between Black women using the X for girl as a way to be edgy, especially cis Black women and trans Black women, versus white women using X for girl as a way to be like protect the chromosomes, you're not a real woman, we're real women, and it's like, oh God. And it's so weird because again, if a turfy woman were to communicate with me, they'd be like, but can't you see your womanhood? And I'm like, but I'm not a woman. And they're like, well, you're black, so I don't acknowledge your womanhood anyway. And it's like, okay, number one, not a woman. No, number two, what? And I read this poem before at events, and either due to auditory processing or completely it going over their head, I have had people come up to me going like, wow, you're such a charming young lady. And I'm like, what did I just read? What did I just say? You laugh, but it happens. It's even happened after I've given fucking warning. Somebody in this room is gonna misgender me tonight and I'm not gonna like it. Prove me wrong. This poem is called Feminine Morbidity. I only trust black people to call me girl. I feel funny when cis black women see me as one. Not ha ha funny. They broke my trust. I only trust black women to use the word girl spelled with an X. I feel funny when turfy white women co-opt it for their gain. They claim a biting independent truth they preach on a binary Sunday. Not ha ha funny. Multiply my name and see often misgendering me equals their evangelizing. I once called my transness a funeral for cis girlhood in a poem. My gender is conjuring morbid like the zombie god I still believe in. My sister hates it when I write about God like this, but God gives me permission to. I am the God in human flesh who solves mystery of transcendence and femininity, because I am this miracle. What now, I ask myself? Can't we do something more with this feminine existence? Can't we do something more with this black feminine existence? Is my existence ha ha funny yet? Thank you. This next poem is called How Jasmine Sullivan Helped Me Appreciate and Come Out to My Mother Again. And this poem includes a reference to Yen Yi's The Year of Blue Water. It's such an incredible poetry collection, would highly recommend. One of my favorite ads for trademarked cotton framed as the fabric of our lives is Jasmine Sullivan's. Her singing voice, her posing in a bright cotton dress. Years later, I heard her sing during the end credits of Tick Tick Boom on Netflix. What a gift sorely missed. What a flower crown for my listening ears to put on. Screw the pastor whose whole sermon on Jasmine's bust the windows out your car. Zero compassion for her, but loads of compassion for the man who hurt her first. I have more appreciation for Jasmine Sullivan as an artist as I get older. Isn't that usually how it goes when learning to appreciate most people? My mom was good at introducing me and my siblings to artists of more distinguished, raspy voices. Women unafraid to sound ugly while singing about their sorrows, curiosities, fears, or joys. I am no longer a woman, but I will always appreciate coming from women. When my mom heard me on a podcast say, I'm no longer a black woman, but I will always root for black women, she was concerned about me not calling myself black. I eased her worry. I'm a black, non-binary person. Sighing, she said, don't scare me like that again. I'm glad she only cared about the word that matters. Got two more poems and then I'll kick it back to Jonas. Thank you again for inviting me. If you'd like to purchase a copy of one of my books, you can go to my website, or I have some in my car. I have Venmo, I also take cash. This next poem is a very old poem, but it's good to bring it back because a pottery artist made me a clay finger fidget clay piece with words from this poem in it, because apparently it's a favorite poem of theirs. And so I wanted to this is for my pottery friend Zadie. Rake yourself in the mud without wondering how you'll get every twig and moss out, and other earthly gunk out of your hair later. Immerse yourself. Overwhelm yourself in the rain that caused all of this mess. Call it a dirty baptism. Call it a heavenly mud bath. Call it reclamation of the body amongst this circumstance, not in spite of it. Roll around and cake yourself in a substance that will crust itself gradually. Encase yourself into a cocoon of filth you consented to. Sing hallelujah for this slight amount of freedom you have before the sun returns. Sure, sunshine brings life, but so does the rain. It's okay to let it rain sometimes. So this last poem, thank you so much. This last poem is a cento, and another thing, I also teach spoken word classes to intergenerational audiences at Royal River Community Players in Yarmouth. Isis has taken one of my classes before. Stay tuned on their website. Classes start in September. And a cento is a poem where you collect lines from other poems or song lyrics and put them together. And I put a bunch of lyrics together and lines from the play together, The Legend of Georgia McBride, using all of the drag performance songs and dialogue from the play as a gift to my castmates in May. And I love it, so I love reading it aloud because it shows how much I love my friends. A cento for Mad Horse Theater Company's The Legend of Georgia McBride. And usually I read like where all the lines are from, but I don't have time, so feel free to ask me afterwards. Because of you, I never thought it'd be drag queens that save my ass. You make things less scary. We're in the same boat now, baby. Grab an oar. Because of you, I found a new place to dwell. As if my past was parading. I ain't never been the Barbie doll type, yet here we are, a straight man in drag and a drag queen in hell. This is too sweet to be loved. I stumble in the kitchen, hot in the kitchen. It's time for makeup, perfect smile. There's not a thing in this world so bad that can't be fixed with a little makeup. You're wearing a dress for God's sake. Use it. Come on, show him what you're worth. For you see, my darlings, life is a banquet. Get a little out of line, fool around and have a ball. Let's go out there with our tits up and our testicles tucked. Keep an eye on spring. Because of you, you showed me what was possible. We all get to escape together. Happy days are here again. As long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. You put my love on top. Your love is real. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maya. One more time, I'd just like to thank all of you for coming tonight. I'm so grateful to you, Maya, for making the trip up here to share your work with us. I know it's a long trip from Portland, but we're grateful. It's a good time of year for 23 minutes on the highway. Seriously, thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope we will see you in October for the next open mic poetry from John Egan and I. Have a good rest of your summer. Hope to see you soon.